rings, we pound for pound. UFC thrills, stills nights get loud. Big EQP, that's how we get down.
Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the GRP. Back at it again on a Thursday, ready to go. The chat's popping off already. Johnny, what's up? Welcome in. Johnny, the first guy to jump in. We got Infinity back as usual. Appreciate you, Infinity. Shawnee's in here today. What up, Shawnee? Antoine, appreciate you as always. I know that you were on your show as well, so appreciate you for jumping in always, man. I know that you're in and out, but you always come in and make sure we're good, so I appreciate you for that. Yeah, thanks, Infinity. Are you talking about the thumbnail? Appreciate that. Yeah, we're here. We back. And we at it again on a Thursday, trying to just see what's going on, because there is no fights this weekend, but that's okay. Thank you, Shawnee. I appreciate that, man. I wanted to update it, and I got it updated, and yeah, I wasn't sure about it at first, but I'm happy that everyone seems to like it. Anybody I pointed out to, or that just pays attention to it, says they like it, so it's cool. I just wanted to give it a fresh, kind of re-up type shit, because I wanted to do that to start the year, but I didn't get to it right away. Right on. Thanks, Infinity. All is good. What's up? Welcome back. Yeah, so I wanted to make the intro nice and fresh, and I'm glad that it worked out like it did. I'm pretty happy with it myself, so I appreciate you guys for complimenting that, and thanks for noticing. I know sometimes people's intros don't really bring too much attention in or whatever, and I feel like it's not too long, it's not too short, and it's eye-catching. That's really all I was going for. I had other ideas for it, so maybe down the road we get something else going on. But for now, I like what I got. So
what's happening with you, man?
Had to play that. I forgot to do it right after I said what's up to all is good. Infinity got me reminded there. So anyway, we're back at it, man. So with no fights going on this weekend, as far as the UFC goes, there is karate combat happening, and then there is Zuffa boxing happening on Sunday. And I assume, obviously, for all of you that have someone or just celebrate for whatever reason you'd celebrate for, Valentine's Day is on Saturday. Obviously, I'm married. I have a wife, so it's always a something that we're gonna do something for. And I love doing stuff with my wife when it comes time for this stuff, but I love doing stuff with her all the time regardless. We don't usually need a day. We just like hanging out with each other. But you know what? It's recognized all over the place, and it is a specific day, and I feel like if we didn't acknowledge it whatsoever to each other, it would be kind of sad. So whatever anybody thinks about Valentine's Day out there, I know that some people don't like it for whatever reason or whatnot, but I love my wife, so I always like to make sure that I try to make her feel special anytime I can. So, and I'm glad she is listening. But yeah, and so I'm assuming that's why it just probably worked out in the schedule that there was no fights. So it is what it is, and we're just here to fucking hang out and see what's going on. We got some stuff to talk about, because there's been a lot of talk about the White House, card, because Dana White went live on, what was it? Was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday. Went live and talked about Jaya Putaya fighting for the cruiserweight belt at Zuffa Boxing. So he went on to announce that, and then with that being said, he ended the live by saying, not very excitedly saying, but saying that the White House card gets put together starting now. He said he was heading into the war room and getting started on it, which is kind of confusing considering, he said in those court proceedings or whatever that when it comes down to it, he's not really even a part of the matchmaking anymore. But obviously, he's still considered a big part of the UFC, regardless of what he says. Maybe he says that because he's not a part of every single thing. Hunter Campbell, man. Hey, I appreciate that, Infinity. But yeah, the what was I saying? Oh, so, you know, he's of course going to be a part of all of it. He's going to have a say so in all of it. He has for so many years. When he said that in those, you know, the court stuff that he was involved in, I just kind of was like, yeah, I mean, we kind of knew this. Like, he hasn't been really present in all these things for a little while now. And as you can see by the enthusiasm that he seems to have all the time, he gets probably a little tired of it. Either that, he's just like whatever about everything these days. But, you know, he still talks about going into the war room and getting this, that, and the other thing done. So, you know, I believe him when he says that's what's going to happen. And he said something about by the end of the weekend, they should have something on paper. So that's exciting, just because we've been waiting for this card and the announcement for this card to see what we got. And at this point, all they've really given us is that they're going to have a couple thousand people there to be able to watch the fights directly. And then there's going to be some kind of fan festival going on in the park up the road, where there'll be like upwards of 100 grand people there or some shit like that. And then that it's going to be outdoors. They're going to walk from the Oval Office and all that good stuff. So we'll dive deeper into it here in a minute. But, you know, we haven't heard a lot of anything else besides that. I just know that that card is going to have some Zuffa boxing stuff. I swear if they add some power slap matches, I hope he met. This is a personal opinion. I know there are people that love power slap. Well, I'm with you on that, Shawnee. I mean, you know, it's going to be a weekend of stuff. I guarantee they're going to maximize what they can do and what they put out there. So I don't doubt that they have something to do with all this, but I don't know that they have any matches, because you got to think, I think they're only going to have the one night of stuff happening. So I don't think they're going to work in too much of, I don't think they're going to be able to have like boxing matches happening like they would for, I think, this upcoming numbered event with the BMF title. They're going to have, you know, like a whole weekend, power slap, Zuffa boxing, and the UFC 327, I think it is, right? I think we're at 327. But anyway, yeah, so they're going to have like the whole weekend of everything. There's no way they're going to do that for the White House, because I don't think they're going to have the manpower. Johnny Dano was lying during those court proceedings. His nose would have grown longer than Pinocchio. There's going to be a promotional edge to promote others. Oh no, for sure. I mean, promoting, yes, but I don't think they're going to have matches, because I think it's going to cost them enough, as well as it's going to be so much to deal with security wise at the White House, that I highly doubt they're going to be able to do anything for more than just the one night. But who knows? I mean, who knows? None of us truly know. Like Johnny, I meant to bring it up, was the first things he said jumping into the chat before the stream started was Ilya versus Justin will be the main event. Islam versus Ian will happen either in July or August. I mean, that's not a bad shout. I mean, I think it's highly possible now that Ilya's back, that happens with Justin. But again, we'll discuss it here in a minute and get, you know, a little deeper into it. But just like saying all that, though, it's like none of us truly know, unless somebody in here is undercover, like a part of the UFC, which would be pretty sick, but I highly doubt it. If Tyler Fish was here, he would claim he makes $1 million a year doing everything for the UFC, but we all know that's not how that works. So we'll let the guy have his dreams, and if he's ever known to be telling the truth on that, hopefully he appreciates the show. He sure likes to rage bait the hell out of me, though. Anyway, it's always fun to have everybody on here regardless. And I always make sure I try to tell you guys that, because I appreciate the hell out of you all, and you make the show funner by being able to interact with you guys in the chat. So hopefully you don't get tired of me saying it, but I always like to make sure I thank you guys, so I appreciate it. Make sure you like this video as well while you're here. If you're not subscribed, please do. And other than that, let's give a shout out to my sponsor, Noctane Smelling Salts, of course, as always. And I always got to go run through the motions with it because they do sponsor me, and I like the product, so I'm not lying when I say it's great to keep me awake and alert and gets me going for this show. I always got to make sure I take a nice big whiff and show you guys how it works and get myself going because it's effective. So this one is the most potent bottle, of course, with the red cap. You can go to their website, scan that QR code, or hit the link in the description below, and you can learn more about it. Here we go. Oh. Hold on. I thought that was going to hit harder. I got to hit it again. Hold on. Oh, there it is. Ooh, that got my eye too. Holy shit. Woo. That's what I'm talking about, though. That's what I like. Oh, except for the eye burning. But it'll be all right. Smelling salts, mate. I could tell how Mick, Sean, and Dana think they're tired of every champion's moving division. Yeah, that's for sure going to be a part of this discussion because I have some thoughts on that as well. I agree. Sorry, I didn't mean the White House card. They're definitely building other events on that weekend, like it's International Fight. Oh, yeah. But I don't think they're going to try to take away from actual International Fight Week, considering they're going to probably still do that in Vegas, I'd assume, because now that they're talking June 14th for this card means that they're still going to have International Fight Week happening, because they talked about that at first, saying that it would be on July 4th, because that would be like the perfect weekend, and all that good stuff. But now that we kind of know, we've heard multiple times it's going to be on June 14th. It's one of those things where I think they're still going to have the official International Fight Week in Vegas like usual, but are they going to have events for it? Because, what kind of main events are they going to have for it, considering they're doing what they're doing for the White House card? Thanks again, Noctane Smelling Salt. Sorry, I got sidetracked, and my face is itchy all of a sudden. Man, anyway, thank you, Noctane, for the sponsorship. Appreciate you. How was your Super Bowl Sunday? Were you grilling? Yeah, I did. I smoked some wings. They were pretty damn good, if I say so myself. And yeah, that's pretty much what we did. Some wings and some fries, just some real like football food. And I didn't really care too much about the Super Bowl, but it was fun to just chill with the fam and watch it. So that was cool. And then just sit there in my own world, do my own thing while the game was going, and kind of glance over at it, watch some of the commercials and whatnot. But yeah, nothing too crazy. So yeah, it was good. It was fun. My wife said they were good, so thank you. I'm glad they thought so as well. I feel like I've got smoking wings down pretty good, and it's about how you season them and what you sauce them with too. That helps a lot. So yeah, I do it different every time, kind of, unless I just want the exact same thing, but I always try some different shit. There's always lemon pepper involved, though. Always lemon pepper involved. Anyway, which fighter is most likely to sing on Saturday, "You Are My Fire"? Oh man, well, nobody on Saturday. There's no fights. Yes, they will do other events in different locations. You can bet the Apex is going to be involved in an event. Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. You're talking for the White House, yeah, weekend. I was thinking directly at the White House. So yeah, that's probably what you were saying earlier, Shawnee. I'm sorry, I'm kind of jumping all over the place, but I'll be straight up honest with you guys. I did not fully prep like a normal show for this week or for today. I will probably do so for Sunday. I'm going to come up with something, but this week kind of jumped out at me, and I kind of forgot that there was no fights going on this weekend. And it's been like a weird type of week. Nothing crazy. It's just kind of felt like a week. It was kind of off, So yeah, I didn't fully prep anything crazy. I just wanted to talk about the things that have been in the news over the past week. So kind of just winging it today. And there's not going to be a whole lot of structure. We're just going to kind of go through some shit. I do have some visuals here. I'll still play some music, but I kind of wanted to just kind of wing it for this one. And you guys always keep me involved in the chat, and you guys always have good questions and banter. So I figured, shit, between that, we can do a little more of that and talk about these couple things I had on the agenda. I don't think Dana's involved in lots of matchmaking because honestly, the UFC has done a great job with matchmaking. Former UFC fighter Matt Brown gave an insight on this. Yeah, but I don't fully agree with that, if I may give my own opinion on it. I think that when Dana was locked in and fully enthralled and making sure that the UFC was to become what it is now, I feel like he was more passionate about making matchups that mattered. The thing he's always said is that the UFC makes fights that you want now. Not that, not that you wanted 5 years ago and you're finally getting it like boxing does. That's what they did with Pacquiao Mayweather. That's what they did with we're going to hit on that in a few minutes as well, Johnny. Don't worry. We're going to get there because that's part of what I want to talk about. So let me hit up this one real quick. We'll get started with what I did prep and what I do have in here and the actual topics and the, in the title. But let me go on this one and then we'll get right to that. I promise that. But I do feel like Dana was way more locked in and way more passionate about the matchups back in the day when he had Lorenzo helping him and had Joe Silva. I heard was a horrible person to work with, but you know what? They got shit done. They made shit happen. So part of me misses the old school days, misses the way that they used to do it. I miss the cards. Think about if you were around for those cards back in the day when you were getting fights on the undercard of guys who are now superstars or were superstars in the recent past that maybe have moved on or whatever now. You were getting those guys in the prelims. And maybe we didn't know how big they were going to get, but they were great fighters. There's a lot going on these days that just makes me wish that it was back to the way it used to be. And I know that makes me sound like some nostalgic fucking old head that just wants things back to the way it used to be because fuck the new shit, right? No, not really. I like the way some of the new shit goes down. There's a lot of structure, production, activity that happens with the UFC that I love. But I just wish that the matchmaking was what it used to be. But now there's so many events. You had to wait a month before you would get a big event back in the day. It wasn't every single goddamn weekend. All of you newbies here that newbies saying the ones during this time frame where there's fights every damn weekend, you're lucky. But the quality of those cards kind of makes up for the fact. What's up, Tyler? Tyler Betts in the chat. What's going on? But I don't mean that in a demeaning way. I just mean for the fact that, when you had to wait a month or so before you could really get another big card, you were just waiting. And that's why they could make those big cards. But, they have so many fighters on the roster these days. It's like, why is this why are guys not being brought up like they used to be, to the point where you're not just a number on the roster or you're not just a name on the roster? I'll give them that at least. Why are we not bringing these guys up the way that they used to bring them up, so that we have the surplus of stars that you can really stack a card on? When you say you're going to blow us away, then fucking make it happen, instead of giving us 3 or 4 fights that knock our socks off and everybody thinks it's the greatest card in the world. But it's like, is it really? Nah, I don't know. Was barely won a month back then. Yeah, bro asking for prop bets on the national anthem for the White House card. I don't think I've heard a national anthem regarding a UFC fight. Well, at the White House, I guarantee they're going to do it. I guarantee they're going to do it. There's no fucking way they don't, honestly. But it'd be weird. For the McGregor-Mayweather, they played the normal boxing country intros. The closest was McGregor bringing out Sinead O'Connor. Yeah, I think because it is at the White House, though, is the reason why we're going to see that. Because it's Donald Trump, bro. You know what's going to happen. That motherfucker likes to show out. And being the person he is when it comes to the UFC and how long he's supported it and been around and showed up at fights, I can almost guarantee that they're going to do the national anthem. It's going to be the American national anthem and no other. We've already heard we've already heard about the fact that there's possibly not going to be any Russians allowed whatsoever. So, Joe Silva was cutthroat. You ain't taking that fight. I'll see you in 2 years. Yeah, he was a beast, man. He was a beast. He just straight up tell the managers or the fighters to their face, listen, you ain't shit. So take this because it's the best you're going to get. Brendan Schaub talks about that all the time. And a lot of people might not like Brendan Schaub, but he speaks the truth on a lot of shit. A bald eagle smoking a cigar. Oh, shit. Do you think Drake May will make it back there? He's only 20. Yeah, I think he'll make it back. It's the Patriots, bro. He's a franchise player now, right? So they're going to build a team around him that can get him back to that Super Bowl and fucking back him up to be able to win. So I think that it was a little too early for him to get there that quick. I feel like it could have benefited him more to not get there and fail. But also if he's a great if he's a great-minded person that doesn't let the defeat get to him for too long, because it's going to get to you a little bit. But if he learns more from that, like just sometimes when fighters lose fights, they say they learned more from losing than they did from winning. So maybe that's going to be the case with Drake May, and that could be what makes him great and makes him become, on the path of Brady or some shit like that. I think Kid Rock will perform at the halftime show at the UFC White House. Oh. Also, how do you feel about professional wrestling? I seen grown men like it more than kids.
Damn, son.
Another one.
Oh, you're not wrong. You are not wrong. I am not big into wrestling. I understand where people are coming from sometimes with it, but some people are just way, way, way too into it for being what it is. I give the athletes a lot of respect, but the level of cringe for some of the performative shit that happens there, I just can't get down with it. I get secondhand embarrassment for a lot of it, and I just can't handle that. I'm not big. I don't ever want to be embarrassed myself. I hate that, but I can deal with that more than I can for secondhand embarrassment with shit like that. So it's tough for me to deal with it. So I'm not big on that shit, man, honestly. Kid Millie Vanilli Rock sits down somewhere. He ain't making it back. The Tom and Bill curse is too much. Oof, I don't know, man. Getting into the White House card, Ari Emanuel said it'll be at least, well, he actually said it'd be 6 or 7 fights, and I guarantee they did that on purpose because that was the headline everywhere. 6 to 7 fights. I'm sure that was a marketing fucking thing, considering the whole 6-7 shit that just never seems to end. I would like to wrestle against Kayla Harrison. Oh, Johnny Shit. Oh, but speaking of Johnny, because I remember what you said earlier, let me get to your topics. This is a reminder for myself as well. No, Shawnee, it's cool. I like the interaction. This is definitely the show for interactions. You don't have to feel bad for it whatsoever. I appreciate you acknowledging that kind of stuff though, because a lot of people don't think of it. But honestly, it's up to me how much I want to let it get in the way of what I'm doing but you're never in the way unless you're talking shit. If you're bringing up good points and stuff that is able to be spoken about and bantered with, I like that. So don't worry about it, Shawnee. I appreciate you for sure. I appreciate all of you for interacting like you do. What was it? Oh, Johnny. What Johnny said earlier. So that's part of what I was talking about when it comes down to getting back to the way that things were, including the just not so popular heavyweight division of today, which is an absolute snore fest at this point. We're not getting the crazy we're not getting, oh, I see, Shawnee, you fixed it. No, it's all good, Shawnee. Don't even worry about it, man. No need to apologize whatsoever. So yeah, like I was saying, oh shit, let me get to part of what I wanted to talk about. And you might see me jumping through some different scenes because I actually just quickly threw in some of this stuff. And I forgot where I put it. And this is why I normally throw it all into my stream deck and have it kind of a, this is kind of a just thrown together thing. So this is why I put stuff in my stream deck so that I can keep it structured, is what I was going to say, because I completely went off track there. But that's my fault again, because I got totally stopped right there. But let me see. I think I have. Yes. Okay. So here we go. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Because see, normally I would automation main. Yeah. Usually that's what I like to do. But I didn't even think I was going to put this many visuals in here. I figured I would just kind of stay full screen with my picture, or maybe go to a web page, which we're probably going to do at some point. But so getting to the heavyweight division though, you always do this and it's the reason why I love your life. You're a legit MMA fan and love talking MMA. Oh, thanks, Shawnee. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate that a lot, because some people are cynical and stuff when it comes to this shit. They think they're the best MMA fan out there and they know more than everybody and your opinions don't matter. There's a lot of people like that. I'm not truly like that. I just would like to know, I would just like to know, you know, what your thoughts are on things sometimes, so then I'll question it a little deeper. But the first topic is the heavyweight division and how bad it is, because as Johnny said earlier, Jailton Almeida got released from the UFC, and when it comes down to it, I'm okay with it to a certain extent, but I'm not okay with it for this reason that you see on the screen. Look at what these heavyweights in one of the most recent fights look like at the end of the third round. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not going to sit here and say that I would look any better than this. But the bad part about this, if you remember this fight, is that these guys look like this probably at the beginning of the second round. Maybe not the bloodiness on Tai Tuivasa, but these guys were winded as fuck by the second round. Now, that's usually okay if we're getting huge knockouts, that, you know, that the fights end with huge knockouts. But the problem is the heavyweights are going to decision almost as much as the women's fighters at this point. It's funny because Chad is so good that we talked about the white card, but we didn't discuss what fights we want to see. Oh, we'll get there, Shawnee. That's why I didn't get too deep into that, because we're gonna get there. Maybe we should do a reverse interview on your channel and people could learn a lot about Infinity. I know we did talk about doing that and I kind of forgot. Like I said, this was a weird week. And I totally spaced that. That's my fault. But yeah, that is something we might do. I don't know if anybody else in the chat would be interested in that, kind of like what we did for Infinity on his channel, a bit of a reverse interview type shit, but here, so you guys can interact and you guys can hear everything that's going on. So if you guys are interested in that, let me know. You know, drop it in the chat, or if you're watching this later, drop it down in the comments if you want to see that. If you want to learn a little more about me, a little more in depth about me and my journey on this whole podcasting and streaming live and watching MMA for as long as I have, just let me know. But other than that, the heavyweight division, this Jailton Almeida getting released is crazy in a sense, because Tai Tuivasa has now lost 6 fights in a row and we haven't heard a peep about whether he's getting released or not. And I highly doubt he will, because he is a fan favorite. He is a fan favorite. Yeah, he is. Tua, I listened to everybody talk about it today, pretty much. So I hope, I mean, it would be nice if he wasn't. I don't say that I enjoy his fight style too much, but he has some finishes. He has had some decent fights. Maybe that's something I should look up real quick, is his record and whatnot. But I didn't even put it. I did put a picture of him here. I just don't remember where I put it, and that's the bad part. This is why when I wait, it's right here. I bet you. Yep. There it is. There it is. His last fight. This is kind of what his last fight looked like. Damn, Dana can no longer say the best fighter, the best. Yeah, and that's the thing is, you know, does him being an exciting fighter make him the best? In a sense, it might. But if you can't beat him at what he does, how are you the best? Right? Whether we like it or not, whether he's boring or not, just like Merab, you know, people didn't like his style because of a lot of wrestling and grappling, not a lot of finishes. But whether we like it or not, if he hasn't fought anybody that can beat him at that game, then how is that any of these other fighters the best? But the thing is also, you know, Almeida didn't win all of his fights, and when he lost his fights, it was bad. It was boring. It's bad, but let's be honest, heavyweight fights can change in the blink because of how big these guys are. Also, if I hear another person saying Tom faking an eye injury, bro just had double eye surgery, we're gonna hit on that too, Shawnee, because he's part of the heavyweight division, and I definitely planned on talking about that. But continuing on Almeida, you know, I was gonna look up his record and his previous fights. So because I want to see, you know, because I can't say off the top of my head, it's a lot of fighters to keep up with. I remember a lot of stuff, but it's tough to remember everything. So I'd rather just look it up and actually be, you know, have the facts of their official record and whatnot. So first of all, he was 8-3 in the UFC, 3 losses. It's not like he had fucking 10 losses in the UFC. It's not like he was a 500 fighter in the UFC. He had a winning record in the UFC. So that's what makes it kind of crazy. Now, he was on a 2-fight losing streak after losing to Kuniev in his last fight. And yes, it was a unanimous decision win for Kuniev. The previous fight before that was a split decision loss to Volkov. But before that, he had a TKO in the first round over Sergey Spivak. And the fight before that, he had a submission win in the first round over Alexander Romanov. So he also got a performance of the night bonus against Sergey Spivak. So, you know, how many fighters have we seen come off of 2 winning fights that were finished in the first round, one of which got a performance of the night bonus, to then going to a 2-fight losing streak, losing 2 decisions of all things, not even getting finished, losing 2 decisions. One was a split, which meant it was probably a decently close fight. Boring or not, we've seen way worse from a lot of other fighters. Now, maybe because he's not the most interesting fighter, the most popular fighter in the world is why maybe we're seeing this kind of stuff happen. But, you know, I don't necessarily think it's the fairest thing in the world. I think give them their 3 fights in a row being lost and get them the fuck out of there then, because we are all kind of used to that. That's what we know from the UFC. You lose 3 in a row, man, you better count your blessings if you get one more shot. Unless you're a gigantic star. Unlike Tai Tuivasa, I don't know that he's a gigantic star. I just know that he's a fan favorite. People like his personality. People like how funny he is. People like how he talks. People like it when he knocks people out, but not so much when he is involved in a boring ass fight like he was against Telson Teixeira. It wasn't the most interesting fight. How do you feel about the new entertainment era? I think people have to understand the UFC's perspective. When the crowd are dead in the arena, it's a gut-wrenching feeling. 100%, Antoine, but the thing is why is the UFC at that level now? I understand where the world is with the economy, with inflation, with blah, 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 fucking blah, right? All that shit. We all feel it. We all know it. Unless you're fucking rich, you feel it. Even the rich talk about how they feel it. How they feel everything is expensive these days. So, the UFC, sure, everything else is expensive, but you're fucking outpricing people left and right on your ticket sales. So you can make those record-breaking gates. Well, the record-breaking gates don't mean dick when the price of the ticket continuously goes up and up and up. So guess what? When there was 18,000 people in the arena last time, and this time you only have 14, but it's a record-breaking event for the gate, how the fuck does that happen? Oh, maybe it's because the ticket prices are fucking 3 times as high as they were when you were seating 18,000 people. Now, I get it in a business perspective. You have less, but you sell it for more and you make the profit. I understand that. I'm not completely blind to the way business works, but goddamn, you can't continuously boast about your record-breaking events at fucking arenas and shit. All is good. Classic GRP rant. Oh shit. Good call. Good call. But I mean, that's the thing though. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you can't continuously talk about the fucking record breaking this and record breaking that when everything costs 3 times as much as it used to. So of course it's going to be record breaking, motherfucker. You're breaking our pockets. You're breaking our banks. I haven't been to a UFC fight in a while because I just don't want to pay the fucking prices. It's crazy. It's crazy. I've never even been to a pay-per-view because the prices are fucking insane. Now, of course, I mean, that's not the only reason why. I'm just saying, it's just hard for me to justify that much. But it's just tough to fucking, hear the record-breaking gates when your ticket prices are astronomical. So, come on. But also, going back to what Anton was saying, it's like, of course it's entertainment. It's always entertainment. Football's entertainment, basketball's entertainment. But I see what you're saying. It's kind of more in that lane of sports entertainment as far as, dare I say, WWE type shit, right? But these guys are getting in there fighting. But the problem is are they fighting the way that they used to? Now they're trying to fight smarter, which is in one sense okay, but also you have to go in there and fight. Like, you have to actually fight. That's the thing, is a lot of times they're not even fighting. They're just fucking circling each other. How many fights have we seen that is just leaning against each other in the cage because they're tired? Like, what are we talking about? My top 3 worst divisions: 1 heavyweight, 2 middleweight. Everyone has fought each other. 3 light heavyweight. Ooh. My current favorite divisions are 1 flyweight. I'm high on Tyra. Okay. 2 welterweight and 3 lightweight because of the main event's possibility. Good call. Good call. That is, I mean, yeah. Middleweight, everyone has fought each other. Okay. Yeah, we'll have to bring up those rankings here in a minute because I want to see. But back to Almeida, he lost to Kuniev. That's not very impressive. I mean, Kuniev is good, but I don't think he's at the level of some of the other opponents that Almeida has lost to, but maybe so. I mean, he's 1-1 in the UFC. He fought twice in the Contender Series. So it's not like he's this outrageous popular star. You know what I mean? So he lost to Kuniev. He lost to Volkov. Volkov is, he's one of the decent guys in the heavyweight division. It's a name. And then he lost to Curtis Blades by TKO in the 2nd round. So that's the only finish he's had. That's the only time he's been finished in the UFC. He beat Derek Lewis. He beat Jairzinho Rozenstruik in the 1st round. Got a performance of the night bonus. He beat Shamil Abdurakhimov in the 2nd round. Got a performance of the night bonus then too. Now that was in 2023. But damn, what I'm getting to is, he gets a couple losses in a row. But this plays to the narrative that Dana White was talking about, which is they're here for fucking entertainment. As Antoine said in the chat, this entertainment era, I just put that all together in my brain right now, and that's just because I'm fucking going on this rant and I'm talking, and it just didn't all come together until just now, which is good. Makes it all cohesive, you know what I mean? So now it's stuck in my brain. Yes, the entertainment era, for what Dana White said. He said that they want entertaining fighters, and if you're not going to be we didn't hear it straight from his mouth, I don't think, but we heard from kind of maybe, but it seems like they're not going to keep the people that are the most boring fighters. And as Johnny said earlier, when it comes down to it, now Dana can no longer say the best fighting the best, because if you're getting rid of people because you don't think they're the most exciting, entertaining fighters in the world, well, then you don't have the best fighters in the world if one of those guys is one of the best fighters in the world, considered throughout the entire sport, throughout the entire world. You know what I'm saying? So everybody does this, though. This is what boxing's notorious for. This, they have the best heavyweight, they have the best cruiserweight, this person has the best that person, because there's so many divisions, there's so many belts, there's so many organization type shit, like sanctioning bodies of sorts, all that. And this is why I don't choose to follow boxing as closely as maybe I should, being a combat sports enthusiast, and you know, covering some of the events here. But the problem is for me is that there's just so much to deal with. It's hard enough to deal with the amount of divisions that are in the UFC alone, and then if you branch out into other organizations, it gets even more tough to try to keep track of all of the fighters and all of the rankings and all of the champions and all of the interim champions and all of the BMF titles and all of the, you know, the women, the men, the fucking divisions, the organizations, the, you know, belts on the line, the everything, the tournaments, the organizations that have tournaments, who's the tournament champion, who's the legit full division champion, who's this, who's that. Fucking A, man. It's a goddamn nightmare. It's a goddamn nightmare.
Get your fucking shit together, my God.
That's a little bit to me and a little bit to the entire sport. But you know, it is what it is. It's been like that forever. So that's just my rant on me trying to keep up with everything, being the fanatic, you know, that I am. But it gets to a point where you just have to throw your hands up in the air and say, you know what, I'm going to focus on this one because this is what I like. This is what I've been deeply immersed in for years upon years upon years. So anybody that has anything to say about me only liking the UFC or only reporting on the UFC, or reporting, what the fuck am I, a reporter? No, covering the UFC is what I meant to say. But anybody that has anything negative to say about that, please tell me how you can keep up with that, as well as a full-time demanding job, a family that you want to spend time with and not completely ignore, and any other ventures you have out there. And as Infinity said, it is a one-man show. And I'm not going on this whole like pity me fucking thing. I'm just saying that's the overall perspective of why I, you know, cover the UFC mainly, because it's what I know the most about. Okay, it's what I know the most about. It's what I follow the closest, and it's been that way for years upon years for me. So I could do nothing but the UFC. I could literally just vanish everything else and stick to nothing but the UFC. But my thing is I like combat sports in general. I'm just not a fanatic about everything else as I am with the UFC. Fighters have to go up a weight class after each loss. that might cause a lot more losses. It's a business first. It could be like boxing, where UFC has a fighter 25-0 record fighting non-top 15 fighters. Yeah, that's what I will say. The UFC is still not one of those organizations that pads records, that gives you warm-up fights, that gives you, you know, anything like that. I mean, sure, you can say they do give you that, but the level of competition in the UFC is substantially higher than most other organizations, because of the fact that, I mean, proven by the fact that we've seen so many guys from outside organizations come into the UFC and just completely shit the bed. I'm in here, boys, had to take care of something. Do you think layup fights will end at one point? I personally don't think in the UFC there is actually layup fights. Now, maybe there's close to a layup fight. I don't think you can consider any fights in the UFC actual layup fights, for the thing that I just said. You know, I just think the level of competition in the UFC is so much higher. There's no close number two, really. Anybody that moves from other organizations into the UFC don't seem to do as well as they did in those other organizations. Maybe it's because it's too little too late, but, and there is exceptions, Johnny. Usman or Magomedov will do great when he comes to the UFC. I fully agree with you on that. Will he be a champion or a long-standing champion? I don't know. But I do not doubt whatsoever that he will consistently be a contender if he gets over here in a decent amount of time. Fuck all the other shit. Stay your course. You cover what needs to be covered. If Tyson walked around with his ass out again, you would probably cover it. Damn, Infinity, I'm actually surprised that one came through, huh? Being that the words that were said, and it actually stayed in the chat. That's kind of crazy. But I'm cool with that though. How much do you think regional fighter? Oh, thanks, by the way, Infinity. I appreciate you for saying that. I wasn't bothered. Nothing brought that about. I just wanted to say it because it's one of those things I've heard here and there in the past. How much do you think regional fighters get paid, like local town fights? I don't know. I've heard as little as like 250, fucking $100 a fight. If you show and win, maybe 100 each. I've heard pretty low. Pretty low. If the UFC's paying their lowest fighters like 8,000 and 8,000, you got to think that regional's not going to be, you know, not going to be that much. Usman, oh yeah, we read that. UFC BJJ 4 matches in 2 leg submissions and 2 decisions so far. Oh, I forgot UFC BJJ's on right now. That's right. Do you think Patchy Mix was going to dominate? Did you think? No, I didn't think he was going to dominate. Not looking at the fights that he fought previously, right before getting into the UFC, I just thought that he would do a lot better than he did. Ryzen is a dope organization. One used to be dope. Yeah, Ryzen is dope. I do like it. But yeah, I wouldn't say that they don't have the caliber of fighters. But look at one of their champions came over. What was his name? That fought Pantoja. Damn it. Yeah, I'll remember here, but man, I wish I could remember his name. Anyway, how do you think Dakota does in the UFC? I think she would do great in the UFC just because if she can handle it, I think she would do great because I think there's not the women's divisions aren't very deep right now, but I do think that she would do pretty well. But the problem is Dakota as good as she is right now because of the level of competition that's in the PFL? There isn't the level of competition that you can find in the UFC. That is still a little true for the women in the UFC, but I mean, I don't know how deep that goes. So we would, we just have to see. Anyway, Horiguchi, Gamrot are former champs that are exciting. Yeah, but Horiguchi came from the UFC anyway. He just left and came back. But Gamrot, yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's exceptions for sure. Local fighters lose money, training, nutrition, etc. True. The only argument for UFC adding divisions is 165, but you would have to change the 170. Adding a 195 wouldn't need to change any divisions by adding this division. Yeah, I don't know that we've talked about that for so long. I would be super surprised if they actually did it. Manel Kopp came from Ryzen. Yeah. I mean, there's exceptions, like I said. But Manel Kopp, what is he doing? Is he going to get a title shot? He fucked up his first time trying to get a title shot. I feel like he's a great fighter, but against Pantoja, maybe against Van, he does okay. I don't know. But I don't know that he would beat Pantoja. But maybe. Because, we didn't really see Pantoja get like full on beat. That was just kind of one of those situations. I can't stand people saying the term cans when it comes to the top pro leagues, especially UFC. Sorry, you've never been in a gym with any camp saying this. Yeah. Dakota would do great at my... Oh, shit. Rafael Carqueria is a super can. He slipped through the quality control ranks. Rafael's booty cheeks. Flyweights are anomaly. MMA adjacent GRP's analysis of T. Howard's mathematical claims. I think he got mocked a little bit on that one with that podcast he did with Rogan and that other guy that kind of just told him how things were. I think he showed his ass a little bit and it got spanked a little. So I agree, Shawnee. As a journalist, I never disrespect athletes, honestly. Yeah. I mean, the can thing is, I just think it's a different level of competition. You know what I mean? I can understand that. Listen, you could say what you want, but I don't think Charles Felony Bennett is a can whatsoever, even though his record for the past, I don't know how many years, was 1 in 25 or some shit like that, or 1 in 25 before he won this last time in BKFC. I wouldn't say he's a can though, because he's a psycho. And he's one of the guys from back in the day that's kind of crazy. And so yeah, this is just a crazy discussion, and going back to what I was saying with the heavyweight division, it's just one of those things. What did I just do? Oh, I see what I did. Okay. yeah, going back to the heavyweight division, the fact that Tai Tuivasa, the fact that Tai Tuivasa is who he is, and I love the guy, so I'm okay with him. Maybe I'm not okay with him not getting cut. It is what it is. I'll leave it at what it is. But adding divisions and weight cuts. But yeah, Dana will never add any more divisions. Got you. Also, why do you think certain fans are jealous of fighters and talk trash on the internet? Well, because that's what people do. It's human nature, unfortunately. They can stay anonymous, so they'll talk as much shit as they want because they don't think that they ever have to face it. It's the same shit that people do all the time. Somebody thinks that they'll never have to come face to face with a UFC fighter, so they'll talk about how ass they are and how much they suck and all this other shit. Would they say that to the fighter's face? No, they'll probably ask them for a fucking picture and an autograph. But that is what it is. I don't listen. I'll take keyboard commandos. I will take my own responsibility in this because I talked a lot of shit. I have talked and probably will talk again a lot of shit about Sean Strickland. And the thing is I don't like the guy's thoughts on things. I don't like the things that he has to say. And while I've come to let it go a little bit more, the last time I went to a UFC expo, which was a few years back, I could have gotten actually gotten the line and you know, got to meet some of the fighters on the panel that were up there because they were rotating fighters out. The problem was Sean Strickland was up there. And for me, at that moment, I was mad because there was other fighters up there I really wanted to see. And I'm not going to sit here and say that that's what kept me out of there, but I was okay with the fact that the line was at the point where I wasn't sure if I was going to make it up there. And I wanted to, how do I want to say this? I wanted to maximize my time at the event. So I didn't want to stand in line continuously and not even get up there. So the thing is I chose not to even bother standing in that line. And that's because I knew if I went up there, I'm not going to sit there and be maybe I won't talk shit, and maybe that's a pussy move too. But the thing is I'm not going to go up there and try to pretend to like the guy. I would have walked right past his podium. That's what I told my wife. I said, if I get up there, I cannot talk to Sean Strickland. I can't. And if he takes offense to that, that's on him. I'm not going to walk by and flip him off like he would do to somebody. I'm not going to walk by and talk shit to him. What I'm going to do is I'm going to mind my fucking business, and I'm going to say, listen, I don't have anything nice to say to this guy, and I don't care to meet him. So what am I going to do? I would walk past his little spot and be like, I'm going to wait over here. Y'all can come over here and talk to him, but you know, I'm not me. I'm just gonna walk by. And if he had knowing Sean, maybe he would say something, maybe he wouldn't. I know better than try to fight a UFC fighter. What the fuck? But I'm also a human that might react to something being said. So I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna put myself in that position. And I didn't. Like I said, I wanted to maximize my time. I didn't get to go meet Adesanya at that point in time, but I did get to go see Adesanya from afar. And it was cool. I got some pictures or whatever, you know, but it was cool just to see him interacting with all the fans. It was crazy over there. There was no way I was going to get through the line before he left, but I got to see him. I actually went to the line where I got to meet Aljamain Sterling. So it was cool. It is what it is. I would talk shit to Bryce Mitchell in person. That's the other person, man. I don't know that I couldn't stop myself. So how do you feel about Joe Pyfer and his comments about Mexico? Part of me wants to say, here, I'm gonna switch up the music for you guys so you don't have to continuously listen to that same beat. It's been on for a minute. But I don't know, man. My problem with Pyfer is I like his I don't like his story, but I mean I like where he came from and stuff. But I don't know what to say. I don't know. I didn't take full offense, honestly, when he said it. I was just kind of like, damn, Joe, I kind of liked you, man. And then like you go and say some shit like that, like that's kind of fucked. but I mean, I understand a little bit. I think it was bad wording, bad judgment on how to say what he was saying. But also, if he meant it that way, then fuck it, say it that way, and now we know where you stand. So it is what it is, man. Fucking Strickland has said so much worse shit, and that's why, and he never stops. So yeah, I don't know. Am I going to watch NBA All-Star Weekend? Probably not. I don't usually get into it. It doesn't go down like it used to back in the day. So I just, I just don't get into it that much. I stick to the combat sports, really. Football's the only thing I watch a lot more of. I'll watch some baseball here and there. I only watch basketball when it's on somewhere and it's there, and I'll just watch it. But do you think Sean will make the Hall of Fame since he won the belt against Israel? I don't know. Maybe one of his fights will. I don't know. I don't think unless he comes back and gets the title back again. I don't think he makes the Hall of Fame. I don't think you're going to make the Hall of Fame just because you were a champion. If you're one of those flyby champions that didn't really defend it, which he was, and doesn't have a outstanding crazy career after, even though you don't get the belt back, I don't think you're going to make the Hall of Fame just by winning it once. There's a lot of guys back in the day that won the UFC belt and didn't defend it, and people probably wouldn't know who they were to this day. I don't agree with how Strickland's personality, not even what he says. Yeah. Yeah. Do you remember when the Diamondbacks won the World Series in 2001? Yeah, I do. It was crazy just because obviously Arizona. I'm from Arizona. Even though I'm not a Diamondbacks fan, really, it was cool to see, them being so new and being from Arizona. For sure, that was dope. Does Brandon Moreno make the Hall? He won the belt twice, but never defended. Did he never defend? I thought he did. But I think Brandon Moreno is definitely a different type of fighter than what Sean Strickland is. But Sean Strickland may have fought maybe higher level of stardom when it comes to opponents. But let me look real fast because I could have sworn he defended at least once. I'm not saying that's the case for everybody. I'm just saying I don't think winning the belt once makes you Hall of Fame worthy. Won the belt, lost the belt, won the belt. Unified belts. So, I mean, technically he didn't, I guess. Won the belt. Yeah, this is weird. Yeah, this is kind of weird. Anyway, I guess maybe he didn't truly defend the belt. I don't know that Brandon Moreno is really Hall of Fame worthy from what I see right now anyway, but who knows? I think Brandon makes it. He made history as the first Mexican champ. That is a good point. That is a good point if you start putting other stuff into it like that. I hear CM Punk going to be oh man. All right, so let's move off of this real quick, but sticking with the heavyweight division. This is what someone brought up earlier, which is Tom Aspinall's eyes. After one day after surgery, he got surgery on both of his eyes. So everybody that wants to talk shit about him, not truly having anything wrong with him and not finishing that fight or taking an easy way out. I don't think he would be having these surgeries if it wasn't for the fact that he had actual damage on his eyes. The problem with this, he's going to be out for quite a while now. So unfortunately, trying to see him on that White House card is probably not going to happen. Strickland in the Hall of Fame is crazy funny. I'd like him as a Neighbors 3 Doors Down because he would come out blazing when he catches someone. And true. I like Brandon because he's finishing Davison for the belt. Oh yeah. I mean, I like Moreno. I don't have anything against the guy at all. I just don't know, Hall of Fame caliber shit. It's tough, especially these days. So I don't know. I don't like to get too deep into those conversations because it's a toss up and it's kind of like, well, you could think this, we could think that. But, you know, it's just a tough thing to, I guess that's why it's fun talking about it too. So never mind. What am I talking about? It's fun to talk about, so why not? But yeah, this is Tom Aspinall's eyes. So if you had any doubt, you shouldn't, because look at this shit. I wouldn't want to do that whatsoever, much less just to get out of fighting. Like, come on, man. People are dumb. This shit is dumb. But it sucks because, once again, holding up the heavyweight division, you know, for even longer because of this, because of someone, you know, causing injury due to fouls and not even getting disqualified directly from it, or, you know, getting, you know, points taken right away, or continuously getting warnings even though it just continuously happens. Ciryl Gane has made many of these fights be affected through fouls, whether it be groin kicks, whether it be eye pokes. There's plenty of highlight reels out there that show how many times Ciryl Gane does this. So just like with John Jones, but they don't seem to get punished. That, you know, everyone wants to just talk about how, oh, the person just took the easy way out by saying they couldn't see because they knew that would stop the fight. But yet you got this guy here who just had, you know, while I know that he was maybe over explaining and over proving that he had issues with his eyes, and people got sick of that too, it is like everything else in the world. You know, if you don't come out and defend what's being said, you let the rumors become true, and you let people think that that's what the truth is because it hasn't come from your mouth. But as soon as you let that thing come from your mouth and you say your piece, then you're making excuses, you're lying, you're scared, you're this, you're that, you're the other thing. There's no fucking winning. Me to my surgeon, can I keep these red eyes going forward? Yeah, man. That's insane. I mean, there's barely any white showing on his eyes, which is nuts. So no matter what you do, it's a lose-lose. So that's why the fouls need to stop. I know that accidents happen, but also Poatan versus Gane, White House sources say 8 minutes ago. Holy shit, where'd you see that at? White House sources. Huh. That would be interesting, but I mean, wouldn't John Jones versus Poatan be more interesting? Like, why would they make Ciryl Gane? I know what Dana White said, that he can't count on him to not bow out of the fight, but you know, I've had laser eye surgery, so I feel him. I couldn't see for hours after. Oh man, yeah, fuck that. Let's be clear. Let's be clear, and I love him. John Jones has held up the heavyweight division. Well, yeah, I mean, but he at least retired and gave it up. Ciryl Gane is cool. Yeah, I mean, yeah, but do you think Alex fights at heavyweight before he retires? Yeah, 100% Alex will fight at heavyweight before he retires. I had eye surgery as well. I don't know, but O'Sally still drinks. Shit. Juice, man. Oh man, well, I guess we should get to actually talking about the White House card, but I mean, this is all a part of it because this all has, you know, comes into play when it comes to the matchmaking for the White House card. So let's get back to, let's turn that off, which is fine. It was just a page I'm going to show later anyway. Actually, that's not even the right page, but whatever. Let's go to this. So we got the UFC White House card. Did we see the main belt defended in 2026? I saw you say something about, or did you ask earlier who has the belt? I don't know. What does that constitute? Are we talking? I don't know. We got to figure out. Oh shit! I messed up this graphic. What the hell happened here? Hold on. Let me fix this because it's gonna bug the hell out of me. But yeah, as far as the White House card goes, you know, we definitely want to get answers, and hopefully we do, either by the end of the weekend or early next week. That would be great. So with the White House card, do you think it's the biggest spectacle in UFC history? I mean, in its purest form, as far as being spectacle, I would probably say yes. Because it's pure spectacle when it comes down to it. They're not going to be making a whole lot of money off of it. They're supposedly not going to have all the sponsors all over the place, so that's a lot of money that they're not going to be getting paid. So I think, yeah, it's definitely a spectacle, because walking from the Oval Office, like, when is this ever heard of being done with anything? It's never been. So it's pure spectacle at that point. How good the fights are is going to be what makes this event historic or not. It's going to be historic anyway because no one's ever done it. Tua, bro, it's going to go down. Unless some national security shit type shit happens, there's no way this card doesn't go down. Might not last till June. Oh shit, here we go. And I literally should have just...
Oh shit, here we go again.
Did I like the Sphere card? Yes, I did. Here's the problem with the Sphere card though. Too long. Way too long. That was a different type of spectacle. I understand what they were doing and I appreciated what they were doing for Mexican combat sports and whatnot, but so much show. I mean, the Sphere itself is enough of a spectacle, and having those screens in the way that it was, I feel like that was enough. They didn't have to do all this extra crazy shit. So I liked it. I just feel like it was way too long, and if they ever did it again, they would definitely need to, you know, tie up the loose ends a little bit. The area in front of the White House ain't that big. I mean, they have a plan, man. They definitely have a plan. I don't think that they would be talking about it as much as they are right now without, you know, being willing to make it happen. Gon literally took his eye out and placed it back in the eye socket. Not the first fight he's done this. He keeps his fingers extended when circling with his 6'10" wingspan, getting attacked. Yeah, not to mention the low kicks as well. Let's get one thing out of the way. Hamzat is not fighting on this card. Yeah. Where the backstage gonna go? It's gonna go outside. If the attack dogs jumped in the ring, I would... Oh, Jesus. It's gonna be humid as shit. DC was built on a swamp. Jesus, Tua. What the fuck, man? They ain't got no plan. They got renderings. Okay, cool. Well, I mean, I guess I should just... You know what? I'll just stop streaming right now because this is pointless. I'm talking about some fake event, right? Because, I mean, Dana White, the president, all the media outlets, and TKO, Ari Emanuel, they're all talking about it, but they're just going to be made to look like fools because it's not going to happen at all. I don't think that's the way it's going to be. So fighters fighting once a year has become normalized. Yeah, that's bullshit too. Do you think they will take place in the night or in the afternoon? I would assume at night. You will never see a UFC Sphere card again. Well, that's what they say, but they say that about a lot of shit. Okay, Nancy, you keep that up, bro. I'll let you keep it up. Just don't get mad at me if I ignore you. You just spam the shit out of that negativity. Oh man. Anyway, so possible matchups, right? We're thinking the obvious ones. As usual, the obvious ones, we'll get this out of the way, and you know, let's talk about heavyweight possibilities. I know they talked about John Jones not being able to be trusted with something like this, but I feel like this is the best fight they could make as far as in the upper weight classes. And I think that everyone's been wanting John Jones. You know, yes, he's retired, but he's already talked about being unretired and training and wanting to fight the White House. You know, he talked about the hip thing and how basically he could get a hip replacement today. That's how bad his hip is. So, you know, that basically tells me that he doesn't have much longer to fight if he ever fights again. But he wants something big. He wants something monumental. He turned down $30 million in the past, and you know, that was made public, and then, you know, and then he retires. So you know, I think what he wants, and he's said so himself, is that he wants to fight at the White House. And I think that's the only way he's going to come back and fight. If he gets passed up for the White House card, I don't think the UFC ever gets to see, you know, him fight again. I don't think anybody ever gets to see him fight again. So I think this is the perfect time to make this matchup. Poatan usually would have fought by now, just judging by the past. So I think they're saving him for, you know, because again, it's already been said, and I don't know if they're going to stick to it, but they're already talking about how there's not going to be any Russians on this event, which means no Merab, no, you know, no Islam, none of that. So with keeping that in mind, I don't know. I mean, is that really the truth? I don't know. Like, I just think it's really unfair for people to be like, the UFC sucks, but we just had the Sphere last year and now we're about to have this card this summer. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Did you see DC's video talking about John having arthritis since he was talking to that fan about the pain and the fan had medical? Yeah, it was technically leaked. That he said he was talking in confidence with Joaquin Buckley, who you see in the video, and then some other person, and that other person had meta glasses on. Yuri, what's up? Welcome in. Appreciate you. I mean, that name is something, but Alex Pereira would beat current Reyes. I think I would say you're right because of what we've seen out of Pereira. I'm pretty sure that you're right, to be honest. And yeah, so I mean, with DC shit, I just read DC. With Jones and the hip thing, I don't know. You know, I think it's White House or nothing. I think if he gets passed up for the White House, we don't ever see him fight again. I don't think we ever see him fight again anyway. I think he would fight at the White House and then be done. And he would just, you know, collect that money, fight on a historic event for his last fight in his career. And if he came away with the win, 100% he'd be done. I think he'd be done either way. But I think this would be a great fight. And if John Jones went out on a legitimate defeat by Alex Pereira of all people, that would be insane. So possible matchup, you know what I mean? Who else would Alex fight? I mean, Juice Man just said earlier, possibly Gone. That would be an interesting fight. Being how athletic Gone is and his stature, the way that Alex Pereira fights, I think Alex would catch Gone coming in on him, even though Gone is pretty quick. I'm just trying to think of, he would just have to watch out for those eye pokes and those. Well, we've seen Pereira brush off a kick to the nuts before and then knock the guy out shortly after, but that is Jamal Hill, who makes stupid mistakes like that. If I had to guess, Islam has called for this. Makhachev versus Topuria. This is a bad return fight for Ilya after what would be a year layoff. Connor versus Gaethje is a possibility. I don't agree with it. Gaethje should fight either Armin or Max. Sorry, Shawnee, I disagree with all that. I don't think they do Makhachev versus Topuria because that would mean Topuria goes up in weight. There's no way Makhachev is going to come back down. So that would mean Topuria goes up in weight. I think the UFC is done with letting people just willy-nilly move up weight classes after winning belts. They want to see title defenses, if not title change of hands. If you can't defend, then you give it up, and you're not going to be double champion. They've already said that too. So I don't see him moving up a weight class. I don't see the UFC allowing that to happen unless they feel like that's the only way, the only fight that could bring up any eyes. But I don't think that's the fight they make. I think they put I think they put Ilya versus Justin in a sense, because then it's a legitimate fight as far as unifying those belts, and because then they can keep the continuity of the belts. But you know, I understand. As much as you say, let's get John Jones off our minds, he's not fighting on this card. Let's get Kayla Harrison off our minds too. She ain't fighting on this card. Not with that injury. Not with that surgery. I highly, highly doubt that she gets on this card. And I don't think Makhachev gets on this card either. So, I mean, we could talk about John Jones not being on this card, but I don't see too many other options for star power besides Connor, which we can talk about and we will talk about next. I just didn't have my stuff in order here, so I will just change that for you if you're bothered by John Jones. But I was talking about Topuria anyway, but I do think that I do think there's a problem with this matchup though, because I'm sure that they want to see some Americans win. I don't think they want to see the Americans get shut out on the White House card of all things. So this might be a tough matchup to make, which is the only way I see them making that Makhachev matchup with Topuria. But are they going to allow him to fight up a weight class and keep his belt? Or are they going to make him vacate and then Justin goes and fights Armin for the vacant title, you know, because it has to be Justin and somebody, because he's the interim champ. So those are the few things that could go down in that division. I mean, like I said, why do they still have, oh, that's pound for pound. I was about to say, do you think Justin retires at the White House? I think if he wins and it's for the undisputed, there's a possibility, but I don't know that he's not the type to be, he doesn't sound like he's done yet. So I don't know. That's a toss up, honestly. But yeah, I think Justin fighting Armin Tsarukyan for the belt, maybe not at the White House, but you know, if they do Ilya versus Islam at the White House, then you know, that could be how that goes. And then Justin would fight Armin for the vacant title, and that gets rid of the interim. So I think Alex will be on the card. I kind of think so too, because if they are counting out any kind of Russians of any sort, for whatever reasons, then I think Brazilians are going to definitely take those spots. Because if you think about it, Hamzat, Islam, and who else? Who else are we thinking? Like, I guess those are the top ones right now that you can think of. Hamzat and Islam, and I don't think we're going to see either one of those on the White House card. I was thinking of somebody else too. Uncle Liev, like, I don't think we see him on that card either. I think if we see, we can agree to disagree, but that is why we are here. I have no problem with Topuria fighting Gaethje. That is actually the right fight to make. I was just speaking on a business standpoint. Yeah, I just think that they see value in John Jones. I just don't think that they're willing to take the shot on him, to not have anything happen beforehand. But I see Dana just changing his mind on that, honestly. And he's done it in the past with John Jones, and I think that's why. Yeah, I agree with the Kayla stuff, except for the fact that I don't know that she's going to make it there because of the surgery. That's the only reason why I say I don't think she's going to be on that card. I don't know that she's going to want to push it at the age that she's at and wanting to get out on top. I don't think she's going to take the chance of fighting a beast like Amanda Nunes and while not being 100%, or at least, you know, as 100% as she could be. Do you think we don't see Kayla until next October then? No, I wouldn't put it out that far. I just think that the White House card is a little bit too soon. June, July, I'm thinking August maybe. I think is the earliest, maybe July or August, late July or or August, something like that. I would say more like August. I don't know that we see her in June. I think that's too fast, but you never know. These athletes will push themselves. She already talked about the fact that she would be, you know, they told her like a 6-month recovery, but she already said, I bet you I can do it in 3. I just don't know that that's smart. So I guess it's up to her. We'll see what she does. But I mean, again, this would be a tough fight, Ilya versus Justin, because Ilya has the upper hand for sure, but Justin has a chance. But I think it's a slim one. So that's just, I don't know. That's just how I feel about that one. So I think it'd be a tough thing to do for the White House card to allow a US guy be the underdog. I think that would be tough. How about Valentina versus Natalia on the White House card? Ooh, see, I don't know if they let Valentina on that card either. That might have been the other one I was thinking of. But that would be that. I mean, I don't know that that would be a great fight, judging how Natalia Silva fought Rose and the way that Valentina's been fighting. I think a little bit of the luster of that fight has kind of gone away after that last one. So do you think McGregor's totally out on this card, but you think Jones might fight on the card? No, Shawnee, I just haven't got there yet. I just haven't got there yet. So let me close this off because I was too busy talking about the rest of that, and let me get to oh shit. Did I even load that one up? Nope, that's not it. All right, so here's the problem. This is why I like, oh, I'm dumb. There it is. This is why I like having all my stuff in order. Valentina versus Zhang Weili at flyweight. Oh, I don't think Valentina's ever going to flyweight. That's for sure. And I think we've seen that fight already, so I don't know that a lot of people would be interested in that. We would need a little bit more time to go by, I think. Colby versus Bo Nichols should be on the card. Well, you would definitely get an American guy to win, that's for sure. Ilya versus Justin in Spain would be fire. Yeah, but they don't have anything in the works for Spain, at least that we know of. So, and I don't think they're going to save something like that for I think they're going to utilize as much as they can. And with Ilya saying he's coming back and would be ready, I don't see how they don't use him for that White House card. After Zhang just moved up to 125. Yeah, but I think because we saw that, I don't know that Valentina can make that weight, but no, Tua, they didn't fight at flyweight. They fought at oh, you're right. No, wait a minute. You mean at strawweight? I think Shawnee was saying strawweight, right? Because they did what the fuck? And gave up her strawweight title. Yeah. Zhang barely makes 115. She's a demon at 125. So what? Hold on. I love Val, but she has had bad weight cuts at 125. Okay, so I'm confused. Regardless, it doesn't matter because I think we just saw that fight and it was not close whatsoever. And so I don't think anybody's going to be interested, including the UFC. I don't see anybody being interested in that fight. Unfortunately, I mean, I can see where you're coming from, but I think it's too soon for that. I think we could talk about that somewhere down the road this year, but I don't think that's a fight that is, a Paramount type fight for the White House card. But yeah, the other person to talk about is Conor, and I think Conor's gearing up for a fight. We heard, who was it saying? The BKFC owner was saying, David Feldman was saying that Conor's in the best shape that he's ever. I'm sorry, no, I was thinking strawweight, Shawnee. That's why when somebody said strawweight, that's when it clicked in my head that I was thinking strawweight. So but we just saw that, right? Didn't Weili just go up to strawweight? I mean, to flyweight and fight Valentina. So yeah, but yeah, Conor, I mean, yeah, it's one of those things. It's kind of like the John Jones things, like, do we know that he's really serious this time? We've seen him gear up for the fight, and supposedly a broken toe took him out of his last fight that he dropped out of within weeks of the fight. Don't make Coke soda. But when it comes down to it, he seems to be gearing up for the fight. Now, he talked about his spiritual journey and how he was a changed man and all this other stuff, but yet he's still kind of wilding out doing the same kind of shit that he was doing in the past. So I don't know how much that journey really did for him. I think it might have been a temporary reform. But I feel like he seems pretty serious this time, but we've seen it before. And I don't think that, I don't think we can count on Conor any more than what Dana says we can count on John Jones. So I just feel like it's what they would be looking for sure. But will it actually be what happens? I don't know. And who would Conor fight? You know, there's always, now we saw the rumor going around that he was going to fight Colby Covington, but Dana shut that down. Now we can't always take that for word, and because he's lied about shit in the past. He covers shit up all the time. I understand sometimes for business you have to do that, but you know, who would he fight? Like, there's always, I know people might not want to see it, but there's always the Nate Diaz trilogy out there because, you know, they are 1-1. So there's that. And that's somebody who you could say that Conor's kind of at caliber with, because Conor can fight somebody in their 40s. Because, yeah, I will say that even Nate Diaz, who I'm a big fan of, has not had the best of a career in the recent past. So that boxing match was horrible. And his last fights weren't that great. So, but still, the animosity, the build-up, the storyline, all that would work well for, you know, all that would work well for the White House card too. So Conor jumped back into the testing pool, but wasn't he suspended for 18 months? He was suspended for 18 months, but that was retroactive, and he had already had almost more than half of that done by that time. And retroactive meaning from the time that it was questioned to the time that it was come to a conclusion. And so I believe that's over already. He is back in the testing pool, and supposedly he's been tested twice in less than a month. So who knows? Conor versus Wonderboy. Ooh, it's actually not a bad shout, Johnny. It's actually not a bad one. I just don't see the UFC seeing Wonderboy as, so first of all, they'd be setting him up for he can fight Gary. Oh no, that can't happen. That's not a good fight. I just saw his suspension ends March 20th. Oh, okay. I thought it was over already. Honestly. You think Conor's next fight will be his last? I don't know, man. There's just so many fighters that everyone's like, it's not even your fault either. It's just what everybody asks all the time about certain fighters. And it's like, we've been through this with Conor. We've been through this with John Jones. It's not anybody else, or even my own thoughts. It's the amount of times these guys have retired and then come back, or said they were done and then come back. How many times has Conor McGregor retired on Twitter? You know what I mean? John Jones is retired, and now he's saying he's gearing up to fight at the White House, that's what he wants, and then he's out of retirement. So this is the type of shit that pisses me off. And so this is why I even hate talking about it. I will talk about it, but it's why it's not that I hate talking about it. It frustrates me to talk about it, because it's the same thing as saying that what Dana White says is word, and nothing else can be true, because we know Dana fucking lies. We've seen it and we've caught him. He's been caught. So, you can't sit there and be like, well, Dana said. Well, who gives a shit what Dana said? Because Dana lies all the time. But, it's just all we have to go off of. So I can understand it. Personally, I think it's unfair to loop him in with John, because John did fight those 2 times at heavyweight. Well, I'm just looping him in the conversation of retiring and then coming back, and then retiring and coming back. Like, I mean, it just gets tiring. This is a generalization. It has nothing to, it has something to do with, I wouldn't say it has nothing to do with, I'm just saying, in general, the retirement shit and then not really being retired is fucking annoying. So I kind of miss Conor on the mic too, Shawnee. I will agree. I know lots of people hate it. He's so good on the mic. I've actually watched a couple of videos, and I've come across a few videos of all the shit talk from back in the day. I mean, the Mayweather shit was gold. Talking shit to the Showtime president was gold. And I hate to say it, but watching some of the things that he would say in press conferences and shit, as outlandish and wild as it was entertaining. And I hated it in the past. It was so annoying, but I couldn't help but laugh at it, and it's entertaining. So I do kind of miss that. But have you heard him on the mic with BKFC? It's a bit of a wild gibberish bullshit, but at the same time, it's still a little entertaining. It's unfortunate. I hate having to say it, but it's true, and I can't lie. So I do kind of miss it as well. So it'd be nice to see him get somebody that would play that game with him, because, you know, he tried to play the nice game with Dustin Poirier that one time, and then that shit just went diabolical. Do you think Conor is sober now, though? He looked sober last time I saw him. Nah, I don't think he is. He might be more sober than usual, but I think he's just like every other person that tries to get sober and has the means to keep that lifestyle going. I think that he may have saw something that Conor was on drugs during the BKFC event. Exactly. I think D taking drugs too. Maybe. I think something crazy is going on there that we might not know about, and I don't know if we'll ever know about it, but it'd be interesting to find out in the future. But I do think that Conor is an addict, and I think that his lifestyle and his success is allowing him to continue to be that addict because he has that mentality. And I think maybe if he was, I can't even say that. I just don't know that I don't know that he's fully over it yet, because it doesn't seem like it, even though he came out with all the things that he said. So the end result, though, is I think we see Conor on the White House card. If things align, it's just a matter of against who. I asked you last time, where do you think would rank top 15 all time? You don't have to make a list, but what number would he be around? Conor? I don't know, man, because I think people would be pissed if I said I don't think he's in the top 10. I do think he's in the top 15. I think he might be just out of the top 10. But without making the list, how do I justify that? And without having thought it through, how do I know that I have 10 people ahead of him? I can think of a few right now, but I would love to be able to dig into that, because if I just went off the top of my head, I'm not sure that I might regret that, or I'm not sure I'd be able to cover everything, because I can't think of all of it. So you think there's 11 martial arts better? You mean martial artists? I don't think, again, Conor didn't defend his belt. Everybody thinks Conor's great because of what he did, which is fine, because he did a lot. But I don't know that makes him one of the greatest fighters of all time. I think his overall package is what makes him so great, because if he was a boring ass guy on the mic, I don't think what he's done in fighting would be considered some of the greatest shit ever seen. I think there's 100 fighters better than Conor, Johnny says. The White House dog's going to be sniffing Conor's bags. Conor has the entertainment factor. Well, yeah, but I mean that doesn't really play into top 10 of all time fighters, unless you're counting that portion. But I don't think it should be counted when it comes to thinking overall greats. Jose Aldo would have defeated Conor in the rematch. I don't know. I think Conor got in his head so bad that Aldo wasn't himself for a long time after that. So I don't know if he would have beat him in the rematch. Personally, I don't believe that featherweight Conor was absolutely amazing. That's the thing, though. How could he have been amazing anywhere when he never stuck around to defend his title? He got 2 titles simultaneously because they let him, but he didn't defend either one of them. He literally passed every single test from the Dust fight to the Jose fight. Conor can have successful fights against old men in bars. Being a top 10 as a fighter versus being top 10 most influential fighters. I don't have him as a top 15 fighter, but the hate he gets is wild. Yeah, even his resume is good on paper when you look at it. Max Holloway. Yeah, but Max Holloway and Dustin Poirier, when they first started, if you look at their careers, if you flip-flop the early Conor with the late Conor, and then have him fight, he's kind of at the same level as the early Max and the early Dustin, if you ask me. The Jose Aldo thing is where his stardom jumped off, I think, is when people started really, because he ended an era. So, well, yeah, but I mean, okay. just one fight doesn't make the fighter. Maybe it did in a certain aspect, but I don't think it makes him the greatest of all time after that. I know that's not what we're saying, but that doesn't make him automatically be in the top 10. I'm not doubting his abilities. I'm not doubting his skill and none of that. He's a great fighter. Like I said, he's probably, maybe I'd put him in top 15, but he's definitely not top 10. So that's what I'm saying. It's like, you can list all of the facts you want. Nothing. I'm not being a dick or nothing. I'm just saying you can list all the facts you want. I can also look them all up, and it's not going to change my mind. It's not going to change my mind. That's just me, though. You asked me for my opinion. That's my opinion. So, of course, his resume looked good. He didn't get to where he was by fighting quote unquote cans, right? But sure, that's why when you look at his record overall, but you think about, oh well, he fought Max Holloway and Dustin before the later fights of theirs, or not, because he never fought Max again, but Dustin. I just can't see 15 fighters better than Prime Conor. Oh man, no. At the end of the no, sorry. I just can't agree with that. I can't agree. I maybe not a full 15 fighters ahead of him, but that's not what I said earlier. I said 10. So, yeah, maybe I don't see a full 15 fighters that are better than him, but I can definitely find 10. That's why I don't put him in the top 10. So just to go back to what I said, again, that is my opinion. You can have your opinion. You don't have to change my mind, because you're not gonna. You're not gonna change my mind. So you can have your opinion and I will have mine, and I'm not gonna try to change your mind. I'm just giving my thoughts on my opinion. So if you think that's crazy, I'm sorry, but I also don't agree with what you're saying. So this is where we just call it even and just continue on, I guess. I just don't, you know, it's not gonna change my mind, basically. That's all I'm saying. I think Conor would have beaten Tony too. Tony would get his ass kicked and come back in the fights. Conor would have KO'd him. If I hear another person hating on Dern from a person that only speaks one language because she changes her accent while speaking, we all do this. She speaks 5 languages and her dad is Brazilian. Yeah. So, yeah. Oh man. Anyway, so yeah, we'll see. I mean, I'm excited. I just wanted to, I did want to just have this conversation really and figure out what people thought about, you know, the card and stuff. Like I said, you don't have to agree with me. These are just my thoughts on things. And I'd rather just throw my hands up and say, I don't know, when somebody says, who do you think is going to be on this card? But also it's something to talk about. And when it comes down to it, it's fun to talk about, and it's kind of what is, it's kind of what's in the news right now too. So at the end of the day, do you think he's going to fight Conor? I think there's a good chance. But his track record would say that maybe it's not, there's not a good chance of that. But I would say him and John Jones are coming to a point where, you know, John already retired. I mean, Conor did the same shit though and came right back. So I think they're both at that point where we're not going to see much more out of them. Nothing's better than a White House card, the biggest spectacle in MMA. So underrated grappler. Wow. Okay. I don't know about that. He gets manhandled in the grappling. So I don't know that he's an underrated grappler. That's outlandish. I never said he was a bad fighter either. I'm just, again, I can't keep going on this one. It's a good chance Conor have more fights in a bar. Okay. All right. Well, obviously my opinions are unpopular today, so we're going to go ahead and just wrap this up. Oh man. Yeah, I just can't, man. How things would have changed if Tony didn't take that short notice fight with Gaethje after Khabib. Still would have ended up at the same. What about Khabib though? Look, it took 4 rounds. It's just, well, no, I know, but it's like, when does it end? You know what I mean? That's why I just laugh it off, and it's like, you know, we just keep going in circles here. And honestly, I'm a huge Khabib fan. It doesn't matter how, if Conor was as great of a fighter as everybody wants to make him out to be, then it should have taken 4 rounds. It was a back and forth. You know, I wouldn't say Khabib manhandled the shit out of him to the point where he made him look like he didn't belong in there. Conor caught him with a couple shots. Khabib took him. Khabib actually dropped him. So when it comes down to it, it took 4 rounds because it was 2 great fighters against each other. Like I said, I never said Conor wasn't a great fighter, but I know Khabib was a great fighter, but Khabib made him look amateur with the grappling and the wrestling. So it took him 4 rounds because everybody talks about how great Conor is, right? So for me, those are the types of things that I you know, that get me all the time, because it's like, want to talk Conor up so much, but then it's like, well, if Khabib's so great, why did it take him so long? Because I've heard that so many times, and I'm just like, bro. So yeah, and Khabib wanted to punish him. That's a great point too. But who's to know? That's the thing. I don't know. You don't know. We all don't know. Only they know. I don't know. Whatever. It is what it is. I didn't mean to get worked up, man. I'm just like, sometimes it just gets me there. It doesn't make me mad. I just get, you know, I get worked up because I'm just like, I can think of all these counter things, and I don't want to sound argumentative, but at the same time, I also don't, you know, want to keep, I don't want everybody else to be argumentative. It goes back and forth, which is why sometimes it's good to just call it. The music's on. So don't worry about it, guys. I appreciate all of you, man. I appreciate all of you. And all the interaction. This was fun, and we can do this more often when there's nothing going on really. And you know what, when it comes down to it, Sunday, who knows, maybe I'll just come up with a few topics that might get us going like this, because in the end, it made the show, we were able to continue going. We're around the same time as usual, and it felt like I just started. So I appreciate it, guys, all of you, for real. Thank you. Don't forget to like the video, please. Tell a friend about the show. Have them come in and jump in and talk about stuff as well. Other than that, yeah, that's it for me. I'm out of here. Take it easy. Peace.